You see, last couple of weeks, I've had conversation with certain people where they sat in a meeting and their leadership told their teams that they are transitioning to an agentic software development lifecycle. And AI is the operating model they run on now. And even from when I think about it, looking around the room, half of the people are nodding their head, the other half are frozen. And I knew who was in exactly what group. You see, the engineers, they're already experimenting, they're already building, they're already creating agent compliance skills and testing them in their workflows. But the Scrum Masters, delivery lead, program managers, the people who coordinate how work actually gets done, they were frozen. Now, not because they don't care or not because they're not smart, but because no one actually took the time to explain to them what has changed. So let me tell you something. AI did not just change the tools that we use, it has changed the job again. And this time, guess what? No memo was sent. And guess what I know for sure? 88% of organizations are now using AI in at least one business function. And that is according to McKinsey's 2025 State of AI report. But here's the part that no one is talking about. Nearly two-thirds of those organizations are still stuck in experimentation mode. They have not scaled, they have not redesigned their workflows, they adopted a tool, but they did not change the system. And then Gartner is projecting that 40% of enterprise applications will include task-specific AI agent by the end of 2026. Now, that went from less than 5% in 2025 to 40% in 1 year. Think about that. If you are a non-technical professional in an enterprise right now, either a Scrum Master, a coach, a lead, a program manager, your role just shifted underneath you. And most organizations are not training you for what comes next. And this is really what this series is about. No, it's not about the hype or the fear or the trend. This is the bridge. I am Stella, an Agile transformation leader in a data and AI organization. And I'm going to be walking you through what I am seeing from the inside and from other colleagues because non-technical professionals are not the problem. The gap is the problem, and we are going to close it together. So welcome to Agile and AI with Stella. And I'm excited for this journey because I feel this pain and I'm here to literally be the bridge to support you. Now, leaning a little bit more. So let me set the stage for what actually changed, right? Think about it. 2 years ago, the AI conversation was all about ChatGPT. It was about prompt. Where are prompts now? It was about how do I use this tool to write better emails? How do I summarize meeting minutes? How do I put a document together faster? That was the assistant era. AI was the helper. You told it what to do and it did one task at a time. You stayed in control. Now that era is over. What we are now is the agentic era, and the difference is fundamental. In the agentic era, AI does not just respond to your prompt. The agent actually plan. They execute literally multi-step workflows. And so they're using tools that interact with your system that you're familiar with, your Jira, your GitHub, your GitLab, your documentation platform. So they don't just answer questions, right? They're taking actions. And here's a shift that most non-technical professionals are not fully aware of. In the assistant era, right, you could just ignore, AI and still do your job. You could say, well, I will learn it later, I will learn it some other time. I will let the engineers figure it out. But in the agentic era, the work itself is being restructured around agents. And so we think about sprints, right? Sprints are being restructured. The delivery pipelines are being restructured. The way epics are created are being restructured. The way tasks or tickets are managed are being restructured. The way reports even get generated, right? And so you think about all of that is being redesigned for agent to execute. And if you are the person who coordinates how typically all of these things get done, and you don't understand how agents work, the issue with that is that you're not just behind. It literally feels like that you're impossible to be seen or you're invisible. And so I want to give you some data so that you know that this is not just something that I'm conjuring up, right? Because I do not want you to just take my word for it. I want you to be able to see, well, what are the numbers saying, right? What is the industry saying? So if I think about and I reflect on what I read with McKinsey's 2025 State of the AI report, it surveyed nearly 2,000 respondents across 105 countries. 88% said that the organizations are using AI in at least one business function, not one task, one business function, right? And think about that. That is like 78% up from what it was just a year earlier, 78% up. But here's where it gets real. Nearly two-thirds of those organizations are in what McKinsey calls experimentation or pilot mode. So they haven't scaled. They are still running proof of concepts in isolated pockets of these business functions. And so they haven't changed necessarily how the organization actually operates. Now, only about 1/3 have begun to scale AI across the enterprise, 1/3. And only about 5.5% are really seeing that financial return or gain from their AI investment, because we know that anything AI is kind of like expensive. Now, that is 109 companies out of nearly 2,000. So the adoption is near universal, but if you think about the impact, it's still concentrated, right, in a tiny group of high performers. And so the question is, what are these high performers actually doing differently? McKinsey also found out that the single biggest factor is workflow design, not just putting AI on top of how we work, but how we designing and redesigning our workflow, not just getting the best AI tools. How are we redesigning our workflow? How are we changing how work gets done from point A to point B? And guess who comes into this part of the conversation? The non-technical professionals. Why? Because they are the ones who understand workflow better than the person like anyone else, right? They understand the end-to-end workflow because they run these workflows every day. And so I want to layer, right, an agent-specific data here. Gartner also projected that 40% of enterprise applications will embed task-specific AI agents by the end of 2026. That is up from less than 5% in 2025. So in 1 year, look at that jump. They also found out that 62% of organizations are already experimenting with AI agent. 62, and 23% are saying that they are scaling it in at least one function. And this is critical because Gartner also predicted that over 40% of agentic AI projects will also be canceled by the end of 2027. So because of why? I mean, cost, think about cost, compliance issues, security issues, unclear business value, and just the risk that companies don't want to consume or absorb. So let me lay in here the picture, right? Everyone is rushing to adopt agent, but almost half of those projects would fail. And one of the core reasons for that failure is because organizations are building agent without involving the people who understand the work, especially the work that the agents are supposed to do. So they are building automation without necessarily having clarity on the architecture. Things are shipping faster, but where's the governance? Where's the compliance? And they're putting agents together, but who's really orchestrating it behind the scene, right? Who's orchestrating it? And this is where I would say that the human gap comes into play. This is the human gap. This is the skills gap. Now, back to statistics. IDC estimates that over 90% of global enterprises will face critical skills shortage by 2026. Over 90%. And if you think about what is the cost of that, $5.5 trillion in product delays, quality issues, missed revenues, and lost competitiveness. Now, that is almost an irony because you're thinking about AI is amplifying volume, right, and delivery. But no, there is a gap. This is skills gap. There's a human gap, right? And this is the part that hits closest to me because more research also found out that only 6% of employees feel very comfortable using AI in their role. 6%. Even with everything that's going on right now, the situation, the drive for AI adoption, only 6%. So that means 94% of the workforce is somewhere between I am figuring it out to I am completely lost. What part of that percentage are you in right now? And then the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report says that 59 out of 100 workers will require reskilling or upskilling by 2030. 59 out of 100 workers. That is a staggering number. And 11 of them are unlikely to receive it. So that means if we're going to bring those statistics home, means that 120 million workers are at medium-term risk of redundancy. 120 million workers. So the question is not whether AI is coming for our role. The question is already here. The question is whether anyone is really going to help you, right, cross that bridge. Is anyone going to help you cross that bridge? I want to tell you what I'm seeing from the inside. And when I say inside, I have the opportunity of working within a data and AI organization, but I'm also in a community, of enterprise leaders, professionals, right? And so I want to share with you inside information. I am watching this transition happen in real time. That's the truth. Every single day, whether it be personal or just external. I'm seeing, getting feedback, from students who've gone through our program and enterprise leaders, watching engineering teams adopt agentic workflows. I'm watching them build skills, which are packaged sets of instructions that AI agents leverage to do specific tasks. And we'll talk more about that. I'm watching them automate ticket creation, reporting, whatever it is, root cause analysis, automate pieces of the development lifecycle that used to take hours, now I'm taking minutes. But I'm also watching non-technical professionals on the same team, Scrum Masters, coaches, leads, program managers, products stand on the sidelines. And it's not because they don't want to contribute, but it's because nobody's really involving them in the conversation. Nobody's telling them how. Nobody explained what is a skill. Is a skill what we think a skill is, or is there a new definition of a skill? Nobody explained how their governance templates could become reference files for the agent. Nobody's explained that the workflow that they run each day is raw material for the agentic era. So they are being left out of this conversation and they're looking outside in, right? And again, this is not a talent problem. This, in my opinion, I would say is a leadership failure. And that's why I'm making this series, because I've been on both sides of the equation, right? Of both sides of the gap. And I've been the person who felt frozen in meetings when I'm hearing like AI conversation. I'm like, what is going on here? I need to learn what is happening. And I've also been the person who decided to step in, to learn the system, to learn that language, to understand the logic behind it, so that I can become the expert that my organization need. And I'm now, of course, one of the things that I enjoy doing right now is reviewing, related skills to my job function in my organization. And it's not because I write code. No, it's because I understand how work gets done. I know what is right. I know what is wrong. I can validate. I can query. I can pressure test, right? I know what governance looks. I know what compliance looks. I know where the template lives. And if I can cross that bridge, and yes, I'm still literally, I would say, crossing that bridge. But if I can cross that bridge, I want to tell you that absolutely so you can cross that bridge. And so, yeah, here is what you should expect, right, from this series. Over the next 8 episodes and more, because there will be more episodes from this, I want to make sure that you have all the information and the skills and the insight and all you need to literally cross that bridge. I'm going to be walking you through what a non-technical professional needs to know, everything a non-technical professional needs to know, right? What to build, what to do, and how to actually stay relevant in the agentic era. And we're going to be starting with the basics. What is a skill? Why should you care? How does it work? How do you build it? And we're going to get practical. This is not theory, because theory is what keeps a lot of people in the dark. We're going to be co-working, co-creating, co-building together. Like, how do you pair a technical person to build something with you, who's probably a non-technical person? How do you identify the workflow in your current role that has the perfect skill candidates? How do you contribute to existing skills without writing code, right? We're going to talk about what happens to the role, to the Scrum Master role, the RTE role, the project manager role, the delivery lead role, all of that when the agent runs the sprint. And I promise you, the answer might not necessarily be what you think. And the answer is actually good news. And we're going to finish with the organizational design insight that separates the companies that survive with the agentic shift from the ones that do not. So this is going to be an amazing set of series. And I want you to really plug in, because every episode will include real stories from inside different organizations, real data that you need, and actionable steps that you can literally take like tomorrow and start at your place of work. And again, this is not theory. I want you to know that this is the bridge. All right. I'm going to be here for you, but this is what I need from you. If you're a Scrum Master, if you're a delivery lead, if you are an enterprise coach, if you're anyone who coordinates how work gets done in an enterprise, subscribe to this channel, because literally this series was made for you. My why was I was just tired of seeing incredible talented people be outside of the conversation because nobody opened the door. And even if the door was open, no one is telling them this is a step to take. Yes. So I'm making this series for you. So share this episode with someone on your team or within your community or within any organization that you're a part of or your association who needs to hear it. And I want you to also drop a comment and tell me, very simple, what AI shift has hit your role the hardest? What changed and nobody told you? And if you're ready to go deeper, there's more to come from this conversation. Again, one of the things I want to share with you as well real quick is check out NSTAR 2.0. NSTAR 2.0. It is a career acceleration platform my husband and I built for professionals who are ready to move and not just learn. And you can find more about this at nstartechnologies.com. I'm sure that will be somewhere in this screen. And I will see you at episode 2. We're going to be breaking down what a skill is in plain language. No code required. Let us go. I'm so excited for this journey. Subscribe.